Hello everybody, this is Bill McFadden from TonePure.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at modulation using a common triad or common chord. So initially we're going to take a look at the C major scale and all the triads formed by the C major scale. And then we're going to look at the G major scale, all the triads formed by the G major scale starting on the note C. And that makes it easy to compare the chords they have in common. So as we do that, we see we have a common chord of C, E minor, G, and A minor. And we'll be using the subdominant to dominant to tonic chord progressions, which establish the key. And the subdominant is the 2 or 4 chord in a major key, and the dominant is the 5 chord in a major key. And the tonic is, of course, the 1 key in a major key. So let's take a look at our first example of modulating from the key of C to the key of G, and we'll be using this little example right here. And notice in the circle of fifths that C and G are just 1 sharp away. So they're closely related keys. Closely related keys are those that are very similar in terms of their key signature. And then when we go from, let's say, C to F, there's only 1 flat difference away. So the further away they are in the cycle of fifth charts, then the less chords they will have in common. So it turns out going from, say, C to G and C to F are the most closely related keys to C. And similarly, we could also take a look at D to A and D to G. They're closely related. So any chords adjacent to each other are closely related. And the further away you go, say from D to C, you get a further distance in the relationship of the key signatures, and therefore there will be less chords in common. But we're just going to focus on going from C to G and C to F. So in our little example here, going from C to G, we have a common chord of C. Let's listen to that. So we established the key of C with the tonic to the subdominant to the dominant back to the tonic. And then we went to back to the tonic in the key of C, but that happens to be the 4 chord in the key of G. And then we went to the 5 chord in the key of G, which is the D major chord, and then back to the tonic in the key of G, which establishes the new key. So another example would be going from the key of C to G with an A minor chord. And the reason we're using the A minor chord is because that happens to be the 2 in the key of G, and therefore we can do a 2-5-1, which is basically transitioning us into the key of G. So let's see what that sounds like. So once again, we went from the tonic to the subdominant to the dominant in the key of C, and back to the tonic in the key of C, and then the common chord A minor, which happens to be in the key of C and G, but it's in particular the 2 chord in the key of G. So we have the 2 subdominant to dominant to tonic chord progression, which establishes the key of G. Let's take a look now at the C and F scales. Here's the C major scale in triads. Here's the F major scale in triads starting on C. And we notice they have common chords C, D minor, F, and A minor. And so in the first example, transitioning, modulating between the 2 keys, we'll modulate from F to C. And so we start at an F with our dominant, subdominant, dominant, and then back to the tonic. And then the common chord F happens to be the subdominant in C, the 4 chord. So we're going to go a 4, 5, 1, and that will put us back in the key, or that will put us in the key of C. So let's hear what that sounds like. So you definitely hear the tonic being established, and then you hear the transition at measure 5 into the key of C. And then we have one last example where we're modulating from the key of F to C with the common chord D minor. So D minor happens to be the 6 chord in F, but it's the 2 chord in C, so that gives us the 2, and then we go from the 2 to the 5, the dominant in the key of C to the tonic in the key of C, and that would sound like this. So that gives you an example of how we can modulate from closely related keys. And we chose the C as our major scale bass, and we went from basically the C scale modulated to the G scale, and then we had 2 examples of modulating from the key of F to C using this modulation technique of the common chord, and establishing the key by the subdominant to dominant to tonic chord progressions. So this is Bill McFadden signing off from Tone Pure Music.